Welcome back to the program, everyone. Officially the second leg of our conversation this morning, and we get to talk party politics and internal democracies. We're joined this hour by the legal advisor, APC in Osun State's Barrister Adeleke, who joins us live now on the program. Mr. Ogushola, thank you indeed for holding on. We understand you've been hanging on for quite some time now. My first question to you is, why is it that you and chairmen and councillors of your party, why are you giving the governor of that state and his appointees and commissioners sleepless nights?
We are not giving them any sleepless nights. And whatever is currently happening in Osun State was offshoot of a wrong decision taken by the executive governor of Osun State, His Excellency Governor Adeleke Ademola, few minutes to the midnight of 27th November 2022, when he issued executive order to send us out of the local government secretariat. And he asked the HLA, who are the most senior officers in the local government, to take over the charge of administration of the local government. So he started the problem and is now witnessing or experiencing the consequence of the problem he started on the 27th day of November 2022, when he issued executive order to sack us.
I asked that question because just before we get to the legal issues, which is why we have brought you here, I asked that question because I was going to ask you, I know the governor has defected to Accord Party, but if for any reason he decides to join the APC, are you willing to accept him there? Does he have a place in the APC?
Well, that is the decision of the top echelon of the party. I cannot say yes, I cannot say no. It is the leadership of the party at the national and the state level who say that somebody should join us or somebody should join us. I do not have authority to speak on that.
But I'm just wondering, as a party member, I mean, politics is all about numbers. If the executive governor decides to join the APC, I think that you should be willing and happy to have him join you. So, but let's get to the legal issues now, because there are court judgments from your camp.
Well, it depends. When we have a governor who does not perform,
yes, so
it becomes, when we have a governor who does not perform, it becomes liability to a political party.
Oh my word! Again, your network seems to be freezing, but I would love us to just go and stay with the issues, which I was just going to ask you now, because there are court judgments from your end, the APC, and there are court judgments as well from the camp of the governor. So I'm just wondering where we are in terms of these legal proceedings. What exactly do you have from your end? Oh my word, we understand that his network is frozen. We'll see how we can get back to the APC.
If he can hear us as the conversation continues here on this side of the divide, the APC in Osun State has a lot of questions to answer, some of which have been put through by the state government, and one of which would be assuming... the governor has said in his broadcast that, assuming without conceding that the local government chairman of the APC had any tenure indeed to hold on to, that tenure since elapsed in October 2025. Yeah. And so if it elapsed following that disputed election that was conducted in 2022, why are they still holding on to the local government offices? Mr. Ogushola?
That is a wrong impression, and I'm here to correct that. We had our election in October 2022, and immediately the governor came in as the governor of the state on 27th day of November 2022. He sacked us. He sent us packing from our positions. And as at that period, before he won the election, the PDP sued OSEC to challenge the processes that brought us in. And on the 25th day of November 2022, judgment was delivered by the Federal High Court in Osun State. And when that judgment was delivered, it was against us. We immediately filed a notice of appeal at the Court of Appeal, Akure. And in the process of pursuing our appeal, the governor issued an executive order to send us packing. And we were not relenting in pursuing our appeal. So on the 10th day of February 2025, we succeeded on our appeal and the judgment was set aside. So we were restored back to our office. And the question is, what happens to our position between 27th day of November 2022 and 10th day of February 2025? How do we account for that? So the only thing for us to do is to approach a court to determine our tenure as a government. And that is what we are currently doing. So the law assumes that our tenure starts on the 10th day of February 2025. So, and if we go by that, we have 3 years to use. So it means that our tenure will lapse on 9th day of February 2028.
For an election that was conducted in October 2022?
You said what?
For an election that was conducted in October 2022?
There was an interregnum. There was an interregnum between October 2022, between 27th day of November 2022
regardless
and 10th day of February 2025.
Regardless of that interregnum, sir, what has happened in that space? Who held control of those local governments in Osun State?
The governor of the state put up what he called caretaker governments across the 30 local governments in Osun State. So he put in place the caretaker committee in the local governments. And they held the position until sometimes 2024, when they were asked to resign. And a purported election was conducted in February, I think February 22, 2025, when in actual fact, the Attorney General of the Federation advised that they should not conduct any election when a subsisting government was about to listen to their judgment that even after we have gotten our judgment. After we have gotten our judgment and we were restored back to the office, they went ahead to conduct the election.
All right. And so the case to determine the tenure was, heard just 2 days ago, and the Accord Party-led government said your party was not represented in court. Tell us why your lawyers did not appear. Mr. Ogushola, did you hear that?
Yes, it's true that our case at the Federal High Court for the determination of our tenure came up 2 days ago. And it's also a fact that our lawyers were not in court. The truth of it is that it takes two to tango. When you have a case in court, you must have notices of the hearing of the case. When you don't have the notices of the hearing, you cannot just throw into the court and say, I want to conduct my case. So we were not aware, our lawyers are not aware of the date of the case. And in actual fact, they were not informed when the date was picked. It ought to have come earlier, but they were not informed when the date changed.
All right. So let me ask you, Mr. Legal Advisor. So confirm for us that the allocation from the government at the center it comes to the APC chairman. Is that the case?
That is true. When we were reinstated in February, thereafter, we were told to open account with the CBN. And we did that at Osogbo branch of the CBN. So The CBN also directed us to open accounts with commercial banks. And we did that with United Bank for Africa. And all that I've just mentioned, the account with the CBN, the account with the UBA, were opened in the name of the various local governments in Osun State. You know, the PDP people, or the People's Democratic Party, lay claim to the fact that we open individual account. That is not true. The account is government account and is inoperative. They have been sending allocation through the CBN to the account. And the only problem we have now is various cases instituted by the state government to put impediment on our way to access the money to cater for the needs of our people in the various local governments.
Mr. Gushala, how legal is that account recognized in the eyes of the law, especially while the case of tenure is still being determined by the court? And of course, we may not be able to refer to the appeal court's verdicts that are being disputed by both sides now. But how legal is this account with this particular bank in the eyes of the law when there is traditionally a joint account allocation committee for state governments that are, you know, standard regardless of which administration is in power?
The issue of joint account allocation, or joint allocation account rather, has been settled by Supreme Court judgments. That the local government in Nigeria is a tier of government with autonomous existence. So the issue of joint allocation account does not arise at all after the judgment of the Supreme Court that recognized the local government as autonomous governments in Nigeria. So then you said, in the face of the tenure, what is the legality of that particular account? The answer is this. When there's a legal process about a process of an election, the law allows you to stay in the office until you exhaust the right of appeal or the right to approach the court. So we still have the right to remain in office until that particular case is determined. I will give you a good example. In 2011 or thereabout, when Governor Rauf Aregbesola came into power, PDP local government functionaries were still in local government. And when he came, there was a pending case. And the governor said, okay, since there was a pending case, let us leave them. We don't need to dissolve the local government elected officials. So he left them in the office. They were there for about a year. It was a day to the end of their tenure that the Supreme Court gave judgments, and we didn't send them away. It is the same judgments the PDP is using us now. I mean, it's using against us now.
So, if I get you correctly, you are confirming that indeed those accounts were opened with this bank that you have mentioned, with the help of the CBN, with the Central Bank of Nigeria, and you're saying that it is recognized. I'm not saying with the help. You're saying that this is legal in line with the Supreme Court. Pardon me, sir. Perhaps you allow me to land with the question. You're saying that this is recognized in line with the Supreme Court judgment or granting autonomy to local governments. But in other cases, in other states of the Federation, state governments are hinging their continued control of JAC on the need for a constitutional amendment to provide clarity to the status of JAC. So why is the federal government enabling this opening of another account apart from JAC for the APC disputed-led local governments in Osun State?
That impression is wrong.
This is not an impression, sir. This is fact, based on what obtains in other states of the Federation. And the president has in fact spoken to this, saying that state governors should allow local governments run, that if they do not comply with the local government autonomy ruling, that he would be forced to issue an executive order. Why is the case of Osun State different, sir?
Well, you know, the case of Osun State is not different. You should expect this because we have different governments at different levels. We have Accord PDP at the state level. We have APC at local government level. So you should expect that the political functionaries at the local governments, because we are law-abiding citizens of Nigeria, we will follow the rules of the law. The rule of law now is that the Supreme Court has said the local government in Nigeria is an autonomous government, is a separate tier of government from the state government. And just yesterday, the governor of Borno State directed all those who are concerned to send allocation directly to the 27 local governments in that particular state. So, and we have other states. It is only that they are not in the news. Also, state is in the news because we have different party-controlled different level of government. PDP is controlling the state, or Accord is controlling the state government, while APC is controlling the local government. So
are you aware, sir, that the governor of Osun State says the state has had to provide intervention from its own resources for payment of council workers at different levels in Osun State?
Well, he has taken it upon himself to do that. It is our responsibility to pay our workers.
So why is the APC in Osun State impeding local government administration by holding on to the funds that rightfully belong to local governments in Osun State?
You know, before now,
or maybe we can ask you, Mr. Bushra, maybe we should ask the question.
Let me answer this.
Yeah, so
hold on, let him answer.
Question. What are you doing with the funds? Because that's my own question. What are you doing? What is your chairman? What are they doing with the funds currently in their position for the last how many months?
Okay, let me answer the latest one. The answer to that is that the governor has been putting impediment on our way to access the fund through court cases, institutional of court cases. And you know, UBA is a corporate organization. We have to look at the legal processes before the mandate to do certain things with the money is accepted. So for now, the governor or the state government had instituted many cases. The latest is coming up today at the Magistrate Court of Osogbo. The criminal matter is coming up today at the Magistrate Court of Osogbo to take the officials and UBA to prison. So he has been putting impediment on our way. Then the earlier question, what I want to say about that is that it is the governor that took it over himself to be paying the salaries of the local government workers. I was once the caretaker chairman before I was elected in October 2022. And I used to sign the schedule for the payment of salary of all my workers every month, including the salary of political office holders. But the governor took it upon himself to be so that they will perpetuate the strike action. So it was a way to ensure that the local government workers did not resume on time because they were being paid, even without going to work. Then let me say this, that the local government system had been an autonomous system of government before now. But we did not recognize that particular history. In 1991, when Babangida was at the head of state, the local government operated autonomously without interference from any state military administrator. Why not now, when the Supreme Court made it a duty for local government to exist autonomously? So without any interference with the local government. Okay. So again,
I was just going to ask you, perhaps until when the governor started paying those salaries, were your APC chairman paying the salaries? Were they using those funds for the people?
You know, we first of all have to clarify this one. One, the governor is owing us 84.
It's a very strange question.
The governor is owing the local government across Osun State about 85 billion naira. the money he collected when he put up impediment on our way to get off to our offices. So he has our money with him. Perhaps he's spending that money on our behalf.
You're saying that
which we are going to challenge in court very soon. And what we are doing with the money, I've just told you that the governor has put impediment on our way to access the money.
When was that?
This is the third time I will say it.
Yes, you are saying, but I was going to ask, when exactly did the governor, which month? And I was asking, before he puts that impediment, were you paying those salaries? Were you paying were you paying
we came on board on February 10th.
Okay.
2025. And on 17th February 2025, one of us was killed. That was the chairman, Irewole local government, late Abbas. And immediately after that, Noge in Osun State went on strike. So they went on strike. And even as at that time, we had not received our allocation. It was sometimes in July or June that we received our allocation. Because they asked us to go and open account when the civil servant did not resume duty.
So let us understand now. You quoted 80 billion earlier on. How much?
85 billion. 85
billion. How much was the Osun State government able to access before you started accessing funds?
They accessed. I think they had the custody of the whole money, about 85 billion naira, because they didn't allow us to operate the old allocation accounts. And before we could open accounts, this money had been paid to them. So about 85 billion naira.
So your APC chairmen have not accessed any local government funds?
For now, we have not done that. So because of the various cases.
You have not accessed 1 naira of the local government funds?
No, before they instituted cases, we paid salary. Before they instituted cases to ensure that we did not have access.
So when you paid salaries, how much did you access?
Well, I can only talk about my own local government. I cannot have the total of the from the 30 local governments.
So how much came to you, sir?
As what?
As running costs for your local government.
We don't, you know, the running cost is being handled by civil servants. The running cost does not go to the pocket of politicians.
I believe this shouldn't be difficult to answer. How much did you access as the presiding officer for your local government?
Are you talking about the allocation I got in a month, or for the period I've got?
Yes, for the period.
The allocation.
For the period you were in office.
For the period. For now, I think I've gotten about 3 billion naira in my local government.
So if we calculated that based on what other local governments in Osun State got, we could have a fair idea, and there could be subsequent questions as to how judiciously those funds were managed. But you said earlier that in Borno that the governor has ordered the transfer directly of local government funds to the local government. But in other states of the federation, and when we could mention Ondo State, for instance, where the civil society is demanding full implementation of the local government autonomy verdict by the Supreme Court through the transfer of funds of local governments directly to their accounts, because local governments, as at the time we had that conversation, were not accessing their funds directly. So the question is, why is your APC-led government selective in its approach to ensuring the direct transfer of local government funds to the local government and not the states?
You know, that is the problem we are having in Nigeria. You don't need to say, or you don't need to complain that certain thing is happening in one state, is not happening in the other states. The local government system in that state may tolerate the situation whereby the governor decides for them. But we cannot tolerate that in Osun State.
All right.
Just because we were elected as the governor was also elected. So, in Ondo State, the local government system may not have been autonomous one because they tolerated the interference of the state government.
It's always interesting.
But here in Osun State, we cannot tolerate that because the law does not allow that.
I think you've made your point, Mr. Ogushola, and we have to round off our conversation with you. Now, it's interesting because in Ondo State, the governor there is an APC governor, and if you count the numbers now, we have almost 24, 25, if not more than that, governors who are from your party as well. So it's interesting to see the dynamics in some states and what we are currently experiencing. But for me, my concern is that in all of this, yes, in all of this, I feel for the people of Osun State, really. And what I see is that perhaps violence is going to erupt. These tensions, they are building gradually. I'm wondering perhaps if your party will take responsibility for this violence and tensions when they get to the apex of it, because it appears that you have that federal might support, and that's why you're able to perhaps confront this. But almost, Uncle, at this point, thank you indeed, as always, for...
Let me just respond.
No, we have to go now. You've made your case. Legal advisor, Osun State APC, Barrister Adeleke Ogushola, thank you indeed for your time on the program.
It's not correct.
And all the best.
The government does not exercise any power over us or anybody.
Yes, you can. All right, you've made your point.